Namaste, welcome back listeners. I am Dr. Bhavna Sharma, working as Assistant Professor of Law at Himachal Pradesh University, Regional Center Dharamshala. In this video, we will be having discussion on pillars of preamble as we had already discussed the first pillar, that is the authority clause, in the last video. Here we will start with the second pillar onward. So these are the four components of the preamble: authority clause, clause indicating type of government, objective clause and enacting clause. As authority clause we had already discussed. Here we will try to understand second clause, that is clause indicating type of government. As the opening words of the preamble says, we the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So here we will try to understand what were the objectives, aims and aspirations of our constitution makers while incorporating these concepts, doctrines or principles. So for that, first of all, we will try to understand the meaning of the term sovereign. Sovereignty has been defined by different jurists as Borden says sovereignty means supreme power over citizens and subjects unrestrained by law, whereas Lusky says the sovereign is legally supreme over any individual or group. He possesses supreme coercive power, whereas Jenks defined the concept of sovereignty as an authority which, in the last resort, controls absolutely and beyond appeal the actions of every individual member of the community. Whereas, in the words of Cooley, a state is sovereign when there resides within itself supreme and absolute power, acknowledging no superior. It means sovereignty, in short, can be defined as the independent authority of a state and right to govern itself. The preamble to Indian Constitution proclaims India as a state to be sovereign, and here sovereignty means independent authority of India as a state, and it has power to govern itself, to testify the fact that it is no longer dependency, colony or possession of British crown, and it is free to manage its affairs, both external and internal. As the doctrine of sovereignty of parliament is associated with British Parliament and it has three implications, we will try to see to what extent these implications are justified with the Indian parliamentary system. These are the three implications of the doctrine of sovereignty of parliament, and these implications are associated with British Parliament. First is the parliament can make, amend, substitute or repeal any law. Second implication is the parliament can make constitutional laws by the same procedure as ordinary laws. Third implication is the parliamentary laws cannot be declared invalid by the judiciary as being unconstitutional. The first implication of the doctrine of sovereignty of Parliament of British Parliament is that Parliament can make, amend, substitute or repeal any law. But Indian parliamentary system can make all these changes only to the limits that has been prescribed in the Constitution of India. The second implication of the doctrine of sovereignty of parliament is that in British parliament system, parliament can make constitutional laws in the same way as ordinary laws are made. But in India, it is a unique blend of federal and unitary system. And Here, the amendment procedure is not neither very rigid nor very flexible. The implication is that the parliamentary laws cannot be declared as invalid by the judiciary as unconstitutional. In other words, there is no power of judicial review in Britain. But in India, where the judiciary is being considered as the third pillar of the constitution, is independent in its own spheres, and it also exercises the power of judicial review. In fact, judiciary is being considered as the guardian of the constitution in India. And since independence, a number of landmark judgments has been delivered by the courts from time to time, and a number of historical guidelines, legal provisions has been laid down by the judiciary itself, and in a number of cases suo motu action has been taken by the judiciary in India. Secondly, under Article 13 of the Indian Constitution, state has been prohibited from making any law which totally infringes the fundamental right or takes or abrogates a part of the fundamental right. Thus, we can conclude here that no doubt the doctrine of sovereignty has been borrowed from British parliamentary system in India, but it has been applied more wider in a more wider sense and more openly in Indian parliamentary system, because in India the sovereign is written constitution and not the parliament. Parliament cannot act beyond the limits of the written constitution. So that's all for this video. Thank you.